So, firstly, thank you very much and welcome to our humble abode. I know you guys are going to have a couple of questions. Firstly, who the hell are M&F Group? Secondly, if you know who we are, why the hell are we doing this? I think if I answer the first one right, I know it's the second one. So, M&F Group, very quick headline for you. We're essentially a telco. We write our own software. Founded right there in Sydney in 2004. Fast forward today, we are the largest IP voice network in Australia and New Zealand. Give you an idea of the size of what we do with our network, over 10 billion voice calls worldwide last year. 10 billion. Again, no one has ever heard of who the hell we are. We're probably using our network at some point. The reason? We're good at partnerships. What we do is we take technology, we listen, we innovate, we collaborate, we build. We allow Skype, Aldi, all these wonderful companies to put their badge on the front and go and dominate and take over. So how does that tie into your industry, what you guys are doing, and what ACIF are doing? So a year ago when I took over this part of the business, many options and wanted to stick to what we're good at, partnerships, right? Chris and I set out to go around the country and find various bodies, different industries, bodies who we thought were invested, interested, in really driving leadership and education amongst their industries. Every single industry is being affected. Interested in the construction spaces, potentially still quite at the start of you guys. But the acceleration rate, if people like you guys in this room start adopting some of the things that these guys over here do, the acceleration rate can go incredibly quick. They're going to go through their companies and their verticals and give you an idea of how their tech is starting to shift their part of the construction industry. Next up is a business that I'm personally quite excited about. I've been watching these guys for a little while before I reached out to Brett. I'm an IoT geek and I also like the startups. Ladies and gentlemen, again, huge honor, Brett Savill.
Thanks very much. I was a little bit worried that the font would be too small for you to read. I haven't actually seen the screen. I'm just going to start off with a bit of a question. Has anyone seen adverts for Amazon's Alexa or Google Home? Yes, great. Has anyone got one? Excellent. Right. You know the adverts, you say, Alexa, dim the lights, or Alexa, turn off the light. You can't do it, can you? No. The reason is that the lights aren't connected. So our business quantifies the ASX is business based in Perth, and essentially what we do is sync with these devices in order to provide home automation, largely in the residential but also in the commercial space. The reason that that's important, any of you that are in residential property, we're going to make a prediction, you will find it increasingly difficult to sell any apartment without some type of automation. Within 5 to 10 years, we won't sell an apartment without automation, which is not possible. We are facing, as we heard, large US and also Chinese multinationals who are in excess of $1 trillion. They are currently competing for the home and they want to put an Alexa, Amazon Alexa, Google Home, the Apple equivalent, Siri equivalent, or if you're in Asia, Baidu or Alibaba, not just in every single home, but actually in every single room of every single home. And they've got $1 trillion to get behind it. It's a huge growth market for them, very like the phone market. They're going to put a lot of money and effort behind that. So it's important that anyone involved in the building industry understands how this affects them and what it means in residential terms. And in commercial terms, it's important that you understand that the current level of automation that we've experienced largely uses technology from the 1990s, so it's not very new at all. I want to take you back a little bit to 1930. I'm going to start with René Magritte, who scandalized the French art world with this painting, "This isn't a pipe." And what he meant was, of course it's not a pipe, it's a picture of a pipe. The picture can be folded, the picture can be reproduced almost infinitely at no additional cost whatsoever. Snap forward to 2006. This doesn't really look like a phone as we knew it in the 1990s. There's There's no buttons for a start on the side. The screen is far too big. But what Steve Jobs realized was that actually we currently used in 2005, 2006 our phones purely for voice calls. And what we were missing was the fact that this is actually has the ability to transmit data. When you think about yourself in the late 80s and 90s, it was a real pain to access the internet on 3G, and even early 4G. Until this came along, we really didn't use our phones very much for anything other than voice calls. And what Jobs did was redesign this, created an enormous screen, whereas previously we had a small screen, and behind it sits a computer. In our own little way, this is exactly what our business is trying to do. So we argue that this isn't a switch. What it is a wall-mounted computer providing a huge amount of data which allows the individual or the business to automate their living or their business operations. Our argument is, in order for this to go mass market, you need to have a solution that is simple, innovative, and limitless. And the reason for that is currently what we've got in the market is very difficult and expensive to install. If you're an electrical contractor, you want to be able to do something that's going to work every time. You don't need to go back and replicate 1,000 times. If you're an architect, you don't want to put something in that's going to be a bad user experience. And if you're a developer or a builder, you're going to want something that's genuinely going to add value to your business. I'm going to start with simple. Spare the blushes, I won't mention the company's name, but this is one of our competitors. And this is typically today how you would install a connected switch that would sync with Google or Amazon. Typically you would have the electrician will need to wire in these pucks or control devices into this spaghetti of wires, and it will take them roughly an hour to do. This is our device. As you can see, it just looks like an ordinary switch to the electrician. Typically an electrician will take 15 minutes to install. But more importantly than the 15 minutes is the fact that you don't need a system integrator to design up front. You don't need to worry about the installation time the electrician takes place. And finally, because we configure it in the cloud, so this is actually configured on site, the electrician has to play around with computers. With ours, the electrician simply installs the switch, presses his iPhone or his iPad to the QR code on the device, and we download it. What that means is there are massive time savings for developers, installers, electricians, and it works every time. It works on 240 or 110, so it can be reconfigured or retrofitted to existing housing process. We think that it's innovative, and we have a worldwide patent on modular design. And what we're trying to do is to prevent lock-in. So if you've been involved in these control devices, very often you have a certified expert who comes in and installs it. He never shares his design with you, because as soon as you want to change anything goes wrong, you need to bring him up and it costs a fortune. So this essentially is installed by an electrician as under Australian law. Once it's installed by an electrician, the feature card and the fascia can be replaced anyway. So let's imagine that you've been in the apartment for a couple of years, you decide that the kids are growing up and you want to give them sort of marble fascias, or the kids have got to an age where they hate marble and they don't want marble, or you simply redecorated your office and you want a different colour. You can simply pull that off and replace it off. You don't need to involve an electrician. Similarly, with the feature card currently works on Wi-Fi, and if the technology changes, so you may have heard we move 3G to 4G, 4G will move to 5G in 2020. Similarly, you could just replace that, put in a feature card that has 5G. So the essence is trying to break away from this dependence on experts and be able to have anyone, no matter how unqualified, simply replace the device to be configured. You also mentioned about computing power in the wall. It has a range of sensors, and so it can measure power outputs, temperature, and so forth, which means that if you want to initiate control devices, then it's very easy to initiate protocols. So a lot of the power management type solutions that you may see in the market really rely on measuring room temperature, or they rely on measuring the building temperature. We have the ability to do it at the outlet, so that you can change if the fridge is producing too much power because there's something wrong with the seal, or if somebody has left a light on or a fan on after 10 o'clock. Control all of that remotely. Finally, in terms of the innovative nature, no other company that we've come across is doing this cloud-based configuration. So no specialists are required. Final point of security, you may, you're all professional in the professional side of the market. If you're an individual, you usually don't worry about whether somebody can hack into your building. But you building for the professional market will know that is a major concern if some 12-year-old gets in and switch on the lights or switch off the lights or switch off the heating or something worse. So we use the very highest levels of security. I won't bore you with the details, but essentially we have a layer of security at the communication level. The certificate is downloaded via Wi-Fi, which then recognizes the device. And our cloud-based platform uses AWS, Amazon Web Services, which has a second security protocol. So we believe it has amongst the highest levels of security of any device. So how does it work in practice if you're in the industry? Essentially, we provide you with a template, and for most people doing that development, this process is largely manual. This is an electronic template which says, I want to build a 50-unit apartment. I've got 31 bedroom, 15 two-bedroom, and a couple of larger apartments. You will then build that up and replicate so that every single one-bedroom apartment has an absolutely identical design from the perspective of the automation. Once you've done that, the instruction goes to whoever you choose to be your contractor. Contractor comes in, installs the device, like any normal switch or GPO or controller, places his iPhone or his iPad on the QR code, and that signals us to download the automation, which immediately allows you to sync automatically with Alexa. So you can have voice command. It allows you to sync automatically with an app, so you can do it on an app. And the product already syncs or already operates as a standard switch, so you can touch it with a movement or effect. We also think it's limitless because we have taken a bit of a trick from the iPhone and we've focused on trying to produce the best hardware we can manage. What we don't necessarily know is building control systems, measurement systems, data visualization systems. We've essentially just thrown open our cloud platform to anyone in the market that wants to use it. So if you've got a heating control system, you will just be able to access these switches through an open API. And finally, we are on AWS, which is essentially a cloud platform which allows us to scale infinitely. So if we have one home or 1 million homes in Australia and internationally, it makes no difference. The platform expands automatically. Currently, the major distributor is Harvey Norman Commercial. So it's the largest franchise in the Harvey Norman group. It's a turnover of about 350 million. Represents mainly, entirely New South Wales and the ACT. So they have an apartment in Bircham called Bircham, which is in Rosebery. And what they've done is that they've got two adjacent apartments, I should say. One has got our devices installed that syncs with Alexa, and then they've got one of the competitors in another apartment which syncs with Google. So you can go in and have a look if anyone's welcome to do that and see it work. Harvey Norman's vision, which we share, is that for automation to be wide scale, particularly in the residential market, it needs to be incredibly simple and cheap. So their vision is simply that a developer will come along, and they will say, here's our $4,000 package for a basic apartment, a $6,000 package for a medium apartment, and maybe a $12,000 package. And that will depend on whether you want to automate the lines, the light, the switches, the dimmers, whatever. If you go in there, you will see 3 different types of automation. The first one, a simple light, Alexa dim the light, or the app dim the light, or touch the light. The second one would be a group of switches. So you may well say, when I walk into the apartment, I want all of the hall lights to light up when I walk past, which basically do that. And then the final is called a scene, which is not something that my teenage kids do, but it is an Alexa term for grouping a variety of devices in a particular outcome. When I leave the apartment, I want to say, Alexa, I'm leaving the apartment, in which case all the lights and the standby power are switched off. So that means that I can't forget anything. It's all done for me. That's a scene. The other scene that they always show you, which is a little bit tedious, but gets a smile from some people, is Alexa, it's sexy time, in which case lines go down to about 75%. There's a sort of bit of mood lighting. Sonos goes on comes Barry White. Some people like that, don't they? So, that's a little bit about us and where we are. As I said, we are starting to commercialize the product. This is now on sale to enterprises, so we sell to developers, electricians, professional installers, and so forth. If anyone would like to go and see the suite, you're very welcome. Just come along and ask me. I'll arrange for you to see it. I guess in conclusion, what I'd say was building automation is coming at a very simple level so that it will work for every single home throughout Australia, throughout the world actually. And so people involved in the building industry need to understand how that works, because these trillion-dollar businesses in the shape of Amazon, in the shape of Google, and so forth, are pushing this at a speed that is really difficult to imagine now. When I look at our solution, we differentiate ourselves from competitors by, we look at most solutions being modular for the electrician. He has to assemble it all on site, whereas ours is modular for the user. We don't want to lock people in. If you want to change things at a later date, you can do that. We see the wiring as being incredibly complex, whereas our solution is just like wiring in a standard GPO or switch. And we see most of the competitors in this space design it to do a single job, turn the light on or off, whereas we are really designing this to adapt to the future if you want to control power, if you want to do something else. So in short, our solution, we believe, provides a properly converged solution at an industrial scale, which means that you can drive this into a mass market. We started off with residential, as I said, and we're now moving into commercial. Commercial requires integration with a lot of the other providers of current solutions, so we're a little bit further behind on that, but we're focused largely on the commercial space of retirement living and NDIS. So that's Quantify Solutions.